Day 58. I failed to make people interested in Schopenhauer. Sorry, Arthur. As you know, it was inevitable. It opened up a new perspective on my past experience. When I came home and started thinking about what has happened, I discovered that the situation was quite similar to the one that I had in 2008. I was just a normal guy, hanging out with a bunch of friends at weekends, having parties, playing games, worrying about job and money. And then, damn it, I read Aristotle. I mean, who the hell are you gonna share this experience with? My thirst for knowledge rose up to the extent that all other needs and wants were left behind. And then I started talking about it with my friends. Quite soon I found out that I had no friends. It made me upset and angry. I took this stuff too bloody personally. Nobody wanted to talk with me about philosophy, and they all were thoughtlessly talking about money, girls, parties, games, and all sorts of nonsense. The whole network of friends was destroyed at that time. Later, I adopted the Aristotelian phrase Amis furus temporis as a motto, and decided to make friends only with dead philosophers. They are good friends, these restless seekers of wisdom. They are ready to talk to me for hours, days, weeks, months, and years about philosophy. And they have unlimited time to listen to me. Whenever I want, I may create a lucid dream, invite Nietzsche and Plato, Schopenhauer and Hegel, Feuerbach and Sextus Empiricus, and discuss the destiny of knowledge. Alright, let's discuss the destiny of knowledge. But first, I'd like to clarify what has happened at yesterday's speaking club. So I had a kind of naive perspective on how it must have gone. So I thought that, well, I'm studying philosophy, I'm reading Schopenhauer all day long, talking about it, trying to make it simple, like his concepts, to be able to explain, not just explain his concepts, but to be able like to put all his thoughts in a comprehensive, structures, and then deliver it at the speaking club, make other people interested in Schopenhauer, discuss his books, discuss his essays. Yeah, and I thought I was capable of doing that, but the reality has shown that it was a just naive perspective. Nobody wanted to actually talk about philosophy, and no matter how hard I tried, it had no results. Well, probably I'm just not persuasive enough. Probably I prepared stuff in a kind of complicated way. Yeah, I started talking about this wheel and representation and tried to explain the difference between the real and ideal and why it's important. And I couldn't say anything meaningful. Yes, we understand it, so what? What have we do with this knowledge? Yeah, that was kind of upset. Yeah, I tried. Yeah, I thought that I'll be able to make people interested. I wasn't so deluded that I believed, for example, that, everybody wants to talk about philosophy. I knew that 10 years ago, even earlier, that to talk about philosophy, you have to, you can't talk with anybody about philosophy. It's kind of matter that nobody cares about unless you read philosophical books. That's the problem. I read them, and after that I'm in a situation where, I like to talk only about philosophy, about knowledge, about studying, about all different, metaphysical concepts and science and whatever. And people, they are just exhausted and, in a few minutes. So we start talking about philosophy, and it doesn't make any sense because everybody, it seems like, at least in my environment now, they mostly are interested in some practical things. So how can we apply it for our life? And the differences between philosophy and life that, well, basically you try to to get as less practical as possible. Instead of being practical and applying everything, you try to use practic or you try to use your will to for objective learning, objective knowledge. So it's like it's not important what you do and what's going on in this world, because this world is just kind of idealistic world. It's not real. And the real world, it's the world of knowledge. And you don't need to apply knowledge in the real world. You need to apply real world in the domain of knowledge. That's what you do. You take everything, what's going on, you take your experience, and then you put this experience in a different universe, in a different paradigm. And in this paradigm, you don't care too much about what's going on, what people are doing, what are they building, like all this trivial stuff. You're not trying to. This phrase from Becker. Recently, I read the book. A few months ago. What was the title of the book? The Denial of Death. Yeah, there was a funny phrase. Tranquilize themselves with the trivial. And Sheldon Solomon was talking about this. I remember on Lex Fridman's podcast. Tranquilize themselves with the trivial. Yeah, that's exactly what's going on around. Guys, no, let's study philosophy. Let's do something different. Let's just, learn the brilliant thoughts and ideas which were developed throughout history and see why they were brilliant, why they're still here, even though there are no such these thinkers. They are all dead long time ago, but these ideas and this movement which was originated somewhere in ancient Greece or even earlier, it's still there, and it's so fascinating to see like all these developments and just to understand it, not for the sake of understanding, not for I need to apply all of this. It's like you don't go to movie, for example, and then thinking, I need to apply this movie. Like you go in a cinema, you watch a movie, and wow, that's so emotionally rich. So if you feel kind of whatever, you feel something, and it makes you, it elevates your spirit, and then you go, and that's so exciting movie, and you want to share it with your friends. You want, okay, guys, go and see this movie. It's so fascinating, and it'll blow up your mind. And your friends say, yeah, of course, it's just a movie, a few hours, let's go, and especially if everybody watches it. But when you read philosophy, it's also extremely rich and fascinating experience. It gives you, the problem is that first it takes a couple of years to begin to understand something there. And of course, there are not so many people who are able to sacrifice their trivial for philosophy, who are able, to get deeper and start actually studying philosophy. But anyway, so you read a book like Aristotle, and then you want to share it with your friends, and you say, listen guys, like I read something mind-boggling, and like you need to read it too, and then we may discuss it, and it's gonna be like unbelievably powerful, whatever. And everybody, what? Aristotle, are you crazy? Like he's incomprehensible. Who's the hell gonna read him? And nobody's, and it's like you're in a situation when you try to convince or persuade people to do something, and it's impossible. And then you kind of, okay, let's like, there's two options. So you may just continue reading philosophy, or you may just, okay, let's get back to normal life. But the problem is that if you once tasted the fruits from the tree of knowledge, there's no way to get back. There's no way. You can't become normal again. So you don't feel anything. You are not, like, you can't You may pretend that you are interested in, making monies and, doing all sorts of things, hanging out with people, talking about like drinking, whatever, watching some movies, discussing weather. But yeah, it's like it's impossible. Anyway, have 5 minutes more yet. What I'm going to do next? So my idea was, a previous week I announced that we are going to talk about shopping hour, and I was thinking, yeah, it's my club, and I made it up for myself to discuss all sorts of different things, to study language, to have motivation for studying. And since now I want to dive into philosophy, I'd like to talk about Schopenhauer and nothing more. But yeah, people were like very resistant, and I realized that it doesn't make any sense. So I may continue. Of course, I'll continue studying philosophy and reading Schopenhauer and go deeper into his system of thought. But for the club, I don't think it's a good idea. So I wanted, I'm talking here every day and writing in my journal about philosophy and trying to focus my attention on it as much as I can. And the speaking club, it was kind of great opportunity for me to develop my ideas. So instead of just talking to the camera, I have the whole group of people. We can discuss it. I can get feedback. I can see what they like, what they don't like. Yeah, I've seen that yesterday. And then it'll help me to develop better my understanding, my comprehension of all these ideas and philosophy, and it's going to help me to not just to focus my attention, but to learn how to explain these things, not just to myself, to the camera, or in writings, but in real conversations. Maybe it's not a good idea to have a group conversation about it. I think that if I would have talked to just one person, I would probably make him or her interested in philosophy. Well, if we have enough time. Well, yeah, there's all sorts of conditions must be matched. Maybe it's also kind of false idea, because with my girlfriend I was for 10 months we were together, and I couldn't make, well, I to some degree, but not completely. Anyway, talking about philosophy in the speaking clubs and talking about Schopenhauer, yeah, I think I don't need to be so stubborn. And if you don't want to talk about philosophy, about Schopenhauer, I don't talk about anything else. Let's just close the club. No, we'll continue talking about like related things. Like next time we're talking about morality. I guess we may apply. Schopenhauer wrote an essay on morality. We may apply his ideas, and yeah, I may consider this activity, the club, as something like as entertaining activity, not as a place where where I would like to have meaningful discussions. So it's just a place where on the end of the week I may go and entertain myself after serious studying, after learning Schopenhauer, after reading his books, after trying to comprehend what he was writing about. I just go and discuss whatever it is, without being too much concerned with education, and without trying to teach people like all these amazing ideas, to make them engaged in studying. And because the problem is that for me it's just usual conversations. They almost never make any sense. So it's just, okay, we just talk, we practice our English, that's cool, but I want something more. I don't want just practice English and talk. I want to talk about my stuff. And it's almost impossible because, yeah, at least we need to read the same books and discuss them. Otherwise, it's just me talking, and like nobody gets what I'm saying. Maybe I need to learn to talk like in a different way, to apply it for real life, to take philosophy and apply it for real life. No, it doesn't make any sense. So just, I don't want to vulgarize philosophy and make it a kind of practical philosophy, as lots of people on YouTube do. Like I'm a YouTube philosopher. I explain you everything. You don't need to read any original work of any philosopher. Just listen to my channel, like Gregory Sadler, for example. It's a famous example. It's like thousands of videos and every philosopher explain every system. Yeah, and he's so dull. I mean, I can't watch him more than few hours, and he makes me sick. Yeah, all this, yeah, it's like it looks as if you understand something after watching his lectures, but then at the end of the day, you see that you have no understanding whatsoever. And when you read a book, you actually focus your attention. That's the point. You think, oh, it's like waste of time to spend few hours, few months reading a book which you may just understand by watching a lecture where all these, conclusions were summarized and explained. The problem is when you get these 15 minutes, you don't have any experience. But when you read a book for a month, when you focus your attention on one book, when you think about it all the time on your own, and the thinker helps you to, to focus your attention on the matter and helps you to grow your own thoughts. That's what's powerful. That's what the experience is. It's not just having some knowledge which you can apply for practice. It's having the experience of reading a philosopher and thinking together with him for a long period of time and seeing how it makes you feel okay. Now I have no time. See you next. Bye bye.